Okay, kia ora. Morena koutou. To this hui of the Kaipara Moana Joint Committee. Is there someone who would like to open us in karakia? I can't actually see everybody who's on.
Kia ora, Amy, I don't mind doing it.
Kia ora, Willie, thank you.
Okay. Kia ora koutou. Kia ino e tātou, let us pray. Kia hari tahama mā kia iho I ngā whenua katoa. Mahieta iho I runga te koa, wai te hari ki tōna arawara. Kia mātou, kia iho, kia o te atua. Nana tatau I hanga I hara hoki I a tātou. Ko tatau a tōna iwi me ana hepi e heparai. Tomo ki ona tatau I runga te whakawhitai, ona marae I runga te whakamoimati. A whakawhitai ki a ia, whakapaina tōna ingoa. E pai hoki a iho, pū mau tōna tana mahi tohu. Aka ngai whakatuparanga katoa a tōna pono. Kia whakakorore tia te matua te tama mai te wairua tapu. Ko te ritinga I te timatanga, a tēnei a nāinei, aka mai tōna iho, a ake. Amene. Kia ora.
Amene.
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 Amene. Kia ora, Willie, thank you very much.
Thank you, Willie.
And so just, I guess, to clarify for anyone who follows up and watches the live stream, we've just had some technical difficulties. So our chair Tame is unable to chair the meeting. So I'm just stepping in as deputy chair. First item on our agenda is our apologies, and we've received apologies from Cherie Povey and Kieran Leone, and our thoughts are with both of them today. Are there any other apologies to be tabled? If not, I will move that. I will ask for a mover and a seconder, please, to accept the apology. Moved by Jack Craw, seconded by Virginia Warner. All in favour?
Aye.
You. Good. All right. Next thing to cover off is just our declarations of interest as a standard. So if anyone has any conflicts of interest or declaration of interest that they need to share, please just raise it as it arises as we move through the agenda. And just a reminder that for all joint committee members to please declare any new or expected conflicts that could arise from applications with KMR funding from related parties. That's just an ongoing one for us to deal with. Cool, thank you. All right, so confirmation of minutes, item 4.1. Sophie, written by you. Did you want to comment on it at all, Sophie? Don't think so, just if anyone's got any comments. Otherwise, we'll go for a mover and a seconder, please. These are the minutes from the 30th of October and the 27th of November. Cool.
Happy to move it, Amy. John here.
Thank you. And I see Greg raised his hand too. So moved by John, seconded by Greg.
Happy to, thank you.
Kia ora. Cool. Do I need to put that to all in favour? I'm not sure.
Aye.
Kia ora, thank you. Cool. Minutes are sorted. All right. So we'll move into item 5.1, the Joint Committee Action Tracker. So mover and a second. Oh,
sorry, Amy.
Virginia.
Sorry, can we bring up the pack? Can we bring up the pack on screen, or so we can present?
I could present the pack. Just a minute.
It's the pack, the agenda pack.
I just need a second to bring that up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie.
Is that visible to people now, or?
Yes, we can see that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Apologies, something's just going to pop over and I'm going to move it off. All right. That's still all right?
Yes.
Cool.
So we're up to item 5.1.
Apologies, everyone. It's quite a large pack, so poor old Sophie's going to need to scroll down quite a bit. This is the forward work plan, I believe.
Okay.
So on that, just as a reminder, I might jump in since Sophie's occupied with moving things around on the page. The forward work plan is a high-level overview of the papers to come up this calendar year to the Joint Committee, the governance. It has what I call standing items that have specific timelines and timeframes, or which are known, major decision points, or in the case of workshops, discussion points. And just one more page, Sophie, if you could bring that through. And for now, of course, it's relatively light because we will populate as decisions are coming to you. And in large part, the decisions in this paper will be dependent on both central and regional government or unitary government timeframes once those are better known of relevance to us. But that's the current high-level view of our decisions, and in the briefing or workshop space, our discussions that we're having with you. And as a reminder, we agreed last year, yourselves as governance agreed that there was a field trip or other discussion in situ, which we've noted to, including a potential for a stakeholder event. So we'll update the diaries and fine-tune information for yourselves once that calendar is a little bit more populated.
Kia ora. Thank you, Justine. Appreciate all the work that the Maurikura staff undertake to keep things running smoothly for us. Sophie, I'm not sure that we got a mover and a seconder to receive the action tracker. Should we just rely back to that?
I think the action tracker is 5.2. Apologies if it's the wrong way around in the chair's run sheet, but on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Good. That's all good. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're dealing with the forward work plan. Did anyone have any questions for Justine or comments? No, that all looks good.
Jack has a comment in the chat just saying, I hope there's some more field trips planned, which is absolutely our intention, and we'll probably have 3, not 2, but they are optional. So we'll keep you. We've got a lot of exciting things. Just on the field trip, if I may, we want to take you all to a navigator site. These are one of our champion sites. We're trialling some pretty either large scale or innovative sediment reduction projects. Often they're quite holistic, and we'd really love to take you to one of those in April, and ideally one that we can talk a lot about our kororo toko iho program. So that's in development. We also would like to make sure that you get into the community, as discussed last year too. So more on that soon.
Oh, kia ora. So through the chair, Amy, so that the fact that you're looking at 2 to 3 field trips, just riding on from Jack's comment, that's already in the play. That's where you're coming from.
Yeah, 2 are already in the play, but we'll probably end up with a stakeholder event in addition to that, which will allow you to meet what I call our key decision makers, our key stakeholders, those who really have a very live interest in this program. And I'm aware that's not something that we've done previously. So I would say there's 3 outings, most of which will be field based and some of which will be very stakeholder centric.
Lovely, thank you. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Right. So I just need to get a mover and a seconder, please, that we receive that forward work plan.
I move.
Kia ora, thank you, Jane. And seconded by Jack. All in favour? Awesome.
Aye.
Kia ora, thank you.
Aye.
Okay, are you happy to roll us through the agenda there, Sophie?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, all right. Item 5.2, this is the action tracker. I'll get a mover and a seconder that we receive it, and then we can discuss if needed.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Jane and Virginia.
Find a second.
Oh, thank you. Cool. All right. Any discussion? Did you want to speak to this, Justine?
Yes, I wouldn't mind if you don't mind. Just the first item around the case studies. We are working quite closely with Willie Wright and with Celia and Charles Royal. I know there's been some passing in the family which may have delayed that project a little bit, but we will be focusing on that in April. But perhaps Matua Willie would like to just add something there for us.
Yeah, thanks, Justine. For the benefit of the joint committee, we had held our first hui for this year last week. As we've said before, we were to identify 3 whakatauira or case studies. We actually confirmed last week that our first case study will be held in the Poto region, dealing with the Poto lakes and the wetlands and things like that. We've just got to finalise bits and pieces to the terms of reference. The committee have chosen a chair to lead this hui for the rest of the year until we fully bring on the full 11 members. We have 7 members at the moment. We have another 3 that we want to identify and then bring on to the committee as well. Anyway, that's just a brief update according to the lawyers. Thank you.
And through the chair, just one more update, if I might, on the Navigator mapping. So we're making really good progress with our Navigator or Champion projects. In April at the workshop, we would like to bring you back a little bit more of an update, including the map that's outstanding here. Kia ora.
It's all good.
Through the chair, Amy, just noting the kia ora, through the chair, just noticing the due date in May, so that that brings on the capabilities that May is quite a busy week or busy month, should I say? That's all doable.
Through the chair, look, that's a great question. We will bring the Navigator and the Korotoku Echo to April because it's better to be had in discussion. There's no actual decisions, if you like, and the 2 outstanding actions will still remain and take time. So I'm not really necessarily expecting May to be as busy as that seems. That said, I don't want to take. I'm not sure if we want to take the pedal off the metal on some of those more substantive remaining actions that have been there for some time. So it's really in our work planning. I'm aiming to at least be able to provide an update, whether that's April or the May meeting. I just don't want to move those dates for now until we've done our work planning. We're in the process of doing that. We should have that finalised by around the 7th of March following an away day. So for now, that's just the current view of those deadlines, but an accurate observation that it's already a busy year, and with fewer governance meetings, it will mean some of the agendas are quite full.
Aye.
All right, thank you everybody. We'll move on to item 6.1, the draft 6-month report. Oh, I just saw a check from Tame. Was he saying that he's fixed?
Yes, that's correct. I think you're out of the hot seat there, Amy.
It's okay, Amy.
I'm very happy to hand back over. Yeah.
Kia ora,
thank you, Tame.
Apologies,
I'll hand it back to you. I'm worried my computer's going to do something with a restart in a minute, so that's perfect timing.
Okay. Thank you. Apologies, everybody, but yeah, do carry on, Justine, please.
Oh, that's fine, no problems. I think we were just coming into item 6.1, Tame, the draft 6-month report. So it's really to hand that over to Stephanie Biersteeg, ama urotaki pakihi. So over to you, Steph, to take us through that paper.
Hey, kia ora koutou. So yeah, item 6.1 is the draft 6-month report. We need to provide this to MFE under our deed of funding. It's for covers the first 6 months of the current financial year, so from 1 July to the end of December. It really sets out progress in delivering our work plan for the year. And we recommend that you approve this draft in principle and then delegate to the chair and deputy chair the final approval so that we can provide that to MFE by the 29th of February and allowing for the potātaki to make any minor editorial changes as well. Thanks.
If I may just add one aspect, and that's because I'm very proud of the team. We have met most of our KPIs in this through the 6-month report, so progress is good. But I see Michelle has a hand up, so I'll back out.
Sorry, I just had a couple of things I noticed look really great. On page 4 of the report, there's the heading capability development, investing in local people. And I wondered if it was a good idea to include in there the choice to have local procurement in the different parts of the catchment, because that is actually upskilling or investing in the locals that run those nurseries and things. And so I thought that could be a part that could be captured there. Also, investing in people, could that include the upskilling of the sites as our flagship sites, so the owners of that? Because we'll be doing a lot more kind of learning maybe than the others that just do the uptake, but the flagship ones got to stand up and become leaders in it. So just, I know it's not exactly internal, but it's the ripple effect of this, rolling out.
Just to comment, this is meant to include the external capability development that we provide. And one other aspect, if we are going that broad, we should add we're a member of an informal member of the Amotai initiative, which also supports local iwi hapu and marae-based employment opportunities through procurement and tenders. So that's another way that we do try and diversify the procurement that comes into Kaipara Moana remediation.
Yeah, and I just thought, especially with the new government coming in and new people in those positions, possibly that highlighting the investment or the local economy kind of stuff that it's supporting as well through that might be a good angle. And then further down on page, sorry, just let me just quickly find it rolling through. On page 11, there was mention on the bottom of the engagement and partnership section under the what examples are, what is happening, the 23 media mentions, etc. That kind of paragraph there, could that be included in the marketing section as well as part of that, meeting that criteria?
Yeah, it possibly could. I think it's normally comes, I don't know, there's always a slightly blurry line sometimes, but I think that's normally a result of like our comms and engagement activity. But yeah, Justine may have other thoughts.
Yeah, I'm happy to move it. I mean, at the end of the day, or have a cross-reference, because it's good news and we're doing a lot in that space. And it's the marketing piece is quite light, although we're actually doing a fair amount there. So look, we'll have a look at that back at the ranch and see where we go with that. But it's a valid point to think about where that sits. Thank you, Michelle.
Getting some crossover in there, right? That might help boost that other section up. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And later in today's briefing, you'll see some amazing stats and a lot of effort going into that area. So it might also be that we do, just want to make a little bit more of that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
I just wondered if we could all have a look at that Appendix 1 to make sure we're all on the same page as to what it's talking about in terms of the
So we were just discussing page 11. It's quite big, but I'll bring you down. I think this is right. So this marketing space.
Yeah, so there's always more that can be included. So I guess if there's any other feedback about what we haven't captured, then it's welcome.
Just to check in, Tame, was there any particular aspect you wanted to provide to the joint committee or show the joint committee?
Oh, just that refer to that appendix 1. So as people are clear on what it is we're supporting in principle.
Very clear.
Just to be sure, appendix 1, you mean attachment 1, the 6 monthly report? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, it says number 2, resolution there, to make sure we're all on the same page.
Thank you.
You're absolutely right, Jack. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Was that something from you, Ty?
I'm happy to approve it, just so you know, I read it all. So yeah, apart from those comments I added.
Good.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right. So can we go back to the resolution, please, and step through 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Receive the report. Approve in principle the draft 6-month document, and the third one is delegate the power to the chair and deputy chair to approve a final draft of the 6-month report for provision to the Ministry for the Environment, with the Poutātaki also delegated make minor editorial changes prior to submission if required. Do I hear Amy McDonald move that?
I'm happy to move or to second it.
Okay, no, you can move it, and we have a seconder, please.
I'm happy to second.
Oh, thank you, Jane. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 Any against? Any abstentions? That's carried. Thank you, Stephanie. Rolling on to the item 6.2, Kaipara Moana remediation GIS layers, and jointly Stephanie and Duncan. I'll hand it over to you two.
Okay, got it. This item sets out some minor and technical updates to the KMR catchment boundary. There is a Kaipara Moana catchment map as part of the memorandum of understanding for the program, and there have been other iterations, like various forms of catchment maps around over time, including through the indicative business case and other processes. As you know, KMR has also invested in the development of some really high quality sediment risk layers, and as part of that work, these are derived from LIDAR. As part of that work, that's remapped the land that drains into the Kaipara Moana effectively. And so what we'd like to do, and which is set out in this paper, is keeping the catchment boundaries as set out in the memorandum of understanding, and then adding in basically any extra bits that have been identified through the development of these sediment risk layers. So that ensures that we both honour the MOU and use the best biophysical data about the land that's draining into the catchment, and honour both of those. So there's no recommendation per se with this, but really just noting, there are noting recommendations, noting that this has happened and that we'll be using this, and this will be updated in Mātai Unekura, which is the tool that we use to map remediation projects with landowners and groups. If there are any questions, happy to take those. We've also got Duncan Curvell here, and he's sitting there with a map behind the scenes. So if you've got specific areas that where you've got queries about those, we can check back to that as well.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Any comments or any questions people may have?
Tammy, it's John here. I've got one. So it's on the second, it's on the page 36, and it talks about through 2022 to 2023, KMR has invested in new catchment models, and it talks about the LiDAR and how, but close to paddock scale accuracy. Now that's a funny term. I just wondered, because I've seen this in a few other documents, not these ones, but there's no such thing as a paddock size. I just wondered if you could maybe determine what you mean by that, because there's paddocks in all shapes and sizes throughout the country. So it's a funny term.
I can have a go at that, if that's okay, through the chair. Kia ora, everyone. When we're talking about scale of mapping, we often talk about catchment scale, sub-catchment scale, farm scale. And I think paddock scale mapping is a bit of a Duncan Carvilleism. It's just reflecting the scale of resolution that we're using to provide information. So it's at a scale that can differentiate, say, a boundary within a paddock. And it really is just colloquialism, just to try and emphasize how resolute this data is. So it's sub-farm scale would also be another way of reflecting it.
So Duncan, it would pick up the fence lines.
It would pick up, so say it would pick up a small slope class change. It could pick up a, well, it doesn't pick up a fence line. It would pick up maybe a bulldozed track. It would pick up an undulation from a landslip. Yeah, that's the sort of resolution we're talking. So it's sort of sub quarter of a hectare scale. It's really small. It's in old mapping terms, I think it's 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair, though, we are happy to use sub-farm scale if that's a more meaningful statement. I think that's something that we can take as an action for us to just to note and to action. No problem. It's not necessarily formally minuted, but if the term we're using is confusing, then we're happy to change that out.
I can see Jane.
Kia ora through. Kia ora koutou, kia ora tame through the chair. My question really is around just making sure that the mihi being done here, and I took all the resolution aspects from the previous question, that it's not being done in isolation to other mappings. I do understand that it takes in what was previously done, but because this is an extremely high level, this would be the shall we say the gold plated of GIS lay mapping for others to use, rather than others using other maps and just confusing all the different data sets that are out there. Is there sort of like going to be a statement that this is that golden star GIS layer, or is it something just for our purposes and then other people go to other GIS mapping?
Yeah, good question, Jane. I think we will start systematically using this and really clearly communicating this whenever there's like a map. You know, like if there's a presentation that someone is giving with a map of the catchment, this will be used. It will be used with our field advisors and landowners. It is primarily linked to KMR, but we're relevant. We'd be communicating that really clearly to others to avoid confusion, because I know what you mean. There's so many various layers and maps out there. It can be the risk of confusion can be high.
Hi. I explained that the discussions that we had when Duncan made that first initial presentation to us in, gee whiz, so long ago, Kaiwaka. in Kaiwaka, was that, you know, we would get to this level and there wouldn't be that confusion somewhere down which can undermine the mahi that's being done currently. Kia ora.
Justine.
Yes, I just wanted to talk about that. And again, I'm not close to this area of the business, so Duncan and Steph will be able to correct any misstatements I'm just about to make. But I believe that the mapping that we have, you know, co-invested in with a lot of support from a lot of experts, and also, you know, just acknowledge our Auckland Council partners for a lot of the methodologies here. But I believe that the partners can use this freely, and will be able to access that with, you know, the accurate permissions and privacy requirements. And so this is for everyone, it's not just for us. And if you need and want to use that, we'll make that available in appropriate ways. So, but that's my understanding. You know, others may just have a finer tune response on that, but perhaps either Steph or Duncan just wants to either confirm or correct that one statement.
Sorry, so that was Justine, just...
It was reminding the joint committee members that they co-own all of the products that we develop in KMR and can use them in appropriate ways in their own way. And so if you like, it becomes the fine scale source of the truth for program partners to use with appropriate permissions, and not necessarily releasing the privacy information from our projects that may be retained. But the base data layers, I believe you co-own them under the IP arrangements. So
yeah, correct. Yeah. So the updates for the layer, that work was done under a contract that was developed with the joint committee, as I understand it. So, and there is joint ownership of that, and so I think that probably responds to Jack's question as well. And it is really the boundary layer, as Justine says. It's not about what people are doing within that boundary. It's just what land falls within, what land, literally what land drains, best information about what land drains into the Kaipara Moana.
If I may just add, before we move on to Michelle, if I'm also just spotting Jack's question, and Duncan's possibly best placed to answer this, but the regional councils, the unitary authority, they both have this information already in their own systems. That's my understanding. Maybe people could just confirm that. So this is not a new layer, it's not secret, it's publicly available through the normal local government processes, etc. Question?
I think they've got access to it. There's nothing. They will be using LiDAR to define their water boundaries as well, so they're effectively using the same information to create their own data sets. I think that's probably not a bad way of saying it. However, this iteration of our boundaries is freely available, and we should make sure it's well shared, because it is matching the old and the new together in an agreed format for us.
Kia ora, that's actually the answer I had wanted, because it's just making sure that the mahi that we're doing under KMR to me, and bringing all the maps together, don't get undermined by someone out there, not us, someone out there using an old version.
Yeah. Yep.
That's fine.
Well, thank you, Jane.
Hey, Jack, do you have your hands up?
Yeah,
Michelle.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Kia ora, Tony. I just wanted to touch on, I know you had a hanging question still there about whether or not to use the paddock scale accuracy terminology, and I just wanted to make a comment that I guess it might be best to align with what either public who are using the tools, or what other tools there are out there, what terminology is used, and maybe keep it in alignment with that would be some feedback there.
Okay, thank you. John Blackwell.
Right, yes. No, I've really enjoyed these maps. I think they really shows how big a problem or bigger area we've got when you see the southern line is parallel with the Auckland Harbour Bridge. And then the top one goes right up to the Waipua Forest. So it'd be a great tool, possibly at the field days. to explain the size of the catchment, because the maps, do give it to us. And you look at Aranga, it goes right to the west coast. Parallel with that, it's just about to the east coast. So it's I think it's a great tool, and I really commend the for using them and developing them. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Jack, I think that's a pretty
thank you.
important matter you raised there.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with the answer, Duncan, you've given us about privacy, but I guess my question really now as a supplementary question is privacy the same thing as data sovereignty? I'm not sure they are. And are we confident that we're not raising any data sovereignty issues? Because it's something that one or two of our own councillors raised with our own data collecting at NRC. So I just wanted to make sure that KMR governance members are happy that we are not raising any data sovereignty issues with what we're doing.
Steph, would you like to comment, or I'm happy to?
Oh, sure. Sorry, I couldn't tell if you were just about to talk, Justine.
No, I'm just, well, you go for gold.
Yeah. I think it's something that it's always pays Jack for us to be continually reviewing, that we're not. And I'd be happy, I think, for us to do that, given where the program's at now. And I think it's a good time to look more broadly, and these questions do come up from time to time. So I think it's a good time for us to check any risks in that space and make sure we are not crossing any lines.
I'm not sure if I can give you advice about where to look, but I think I'd probably start with the GIS folks at NRC anyway, because they are aware of those issues that are raised by councillors here at NRC.
I've spoken with Jason Donaghy before, because I understand he's got quite an interest in data sovereignty and has done some work in that space and connected into various national networks around that. But happy to, and I know that it's something that comes up in, oh, you go, Justine.
No, carry on, Steve.
Oh, yeah. I think it's something that sort of will come up more in time, as well as projects like Kōrero Tuku Iho evolve and progress. So really keen that we're across it. Go, Justine.
If I might just, you go, Tim. No, you go.
No, I was going to put the motion.
Okay, very briefly then. Look, it's a live issue. There are expert groups looking at this. Auckland Council's also done a lot of thinking. We'll draw on best practice, and we will, as Steph said, make sure that we're not out of step. My understanding at the minute is that we're absolutely in tune, because the landowners provide their information to us, and we map that with their permission. And it forms part of the contract. But for example, once Kōrero Tuku Iho has information, that obviously that's sensitive information, and it may need to be stored in our systems in a slightly different way, not just for privacy reasons, but also for data sovereignty reasons. We will need to think about that. And ahead of that project, as Steph said, that review will be quite an important place. But we won't do that ourselves. We'll draw on best and latest practice. And it speaks also to the point of Michelle made around terminology. We're not necessarily having the resources here to do that in our own way from scratch. So I think there's also a national group that's dealing with this as well, I think based in Auckland, that we can draw on. So but all good points. Thank you.
Just before putting the motion, make a couple of points around the local water done well reforms and how the accuracy of what they're talking about, and especially the split between stormwater and flood management, and that they tend to get this completely out of kilter, especially delivering it from a Department of Internal Affairs point, crossing over into Ministry for the Environment and MPI on top of that is a potential area for a lot of confusion as boundaries are reset and replaced. The other one was the catchment scale work that's gone on in terms of these rōpū whakahono agreements, or mana whakahono. I just lost track of which hono they're trying to achieve here. There's been a few of them tossed around, and I know at a Whangarei District Council level, there's some confusion about who holds the agreement with. Is it iwi? Is it hapu? The question I had was, where does the landowner sit? And I guess it's a little bit like the issues we've been dealing with as KMR, is we've tried to build this from the landowner upwards. And I have to say, I'm not quite sure whether some of these layers of information actually follow the same level of thinking. That I think that a real value in this kind of work is at the property end. Not so sure about paddock scale, Duncan, Stephanie, but definitely as properties relative to other properties immediately around them. And so you begin to profile, you know, a sub-catchment or a local catchment out to sub-catchment to the major catchment. But no, I think this is a step in the right direction, and definitely look forward to these developments. If I can move to the motion to receive the GIS layers report and note recommendations 2 and 3. May I have a mover, please?
Happy to move it.
Thank you.
John Blackwell.
Thank you, John.
As
Have
well.
a seconder. Michelle Carmichael, seconder. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against? Any objections? Sorry, any abstention? That's carried. So moving to item 6.3, rephasing procedures report, and hand it back to you, Stephanie. Order.
Kia ora anō. So this paper is tabled for information, or tabling for information, the signed minor change form that was required to implement the time-only extension of KMR. And yes, it's really a noting paper again. So noting that the time-only extension of the program has been granted to KMR through to the 8th of February 2031, and requesting that you note the signed documentation that was used to implement this, and that signing having occurred at the final hui of 2023 in November last year.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any questions? Any comments from the members? From anybody? Okay, if not, can we put the motion to receive the rephasing procedures report and note the recommendations 2, 3, and 4? Have a mover, please. Oh, Jack Craw, move it. Have a seconder.
Aye.
Okay, James Gerard, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 Aye. Those against? Any abstentions? That's carried. So moving on down to.
Sorry, Tammy, to interrupt. It's just we've got a problem getting Georgie Connolly into the meeting, which I've just been trying to deal with. Sophie, are you the person that needs to let her in? Because she's been waiting for some time. Apologies, it's just she's trying to get hold of me and I've only just noticed that.
No problem.
Sophie, is there any comment there around how to get her into the meeting?
Yes, sorry, I forgot I was muted. I will sort that out as soon as I can.
Awesome, thank you. Apologies.
Kia ora through the chair. Are you still there, Tubby?
Aye.
Kia ora. If I could, I had just wanted to make comment of the rephrasing and the fact that we had signed it off in November of last year. So I'd like to commend all the work behind the scenes, well aware all of those meetings that had occurred and the conversations from Justine and yourself, Tammy. So it's just a really good way to end the year, and I've already sent the report that I did for Ngā Maunga Whakahi's the 19th of December meeting. So kia ora, it's been well reported.
Tēnā koe, kia ora. I think we're trying to get Georgina connected.
Yeah, it was a nice time to have Georgina come in too.
Hopefully we're getting her in. There just seems to be a few technical issues today, but lovely to have that feedback since we're waiting. Look, the team has worked hugely hard on that, and just to acknowledge both Steph and Gal for that, but also our colleagues in MFE for helping with that.
Kia ora. Yeah. It was a lovely day. It was a lovely day with MFE and everybody.
Absolutely. Sophie, how are we going with Georgie? I'm wondering, Tammy, we may just need to push on, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We'll do that. We'll pass it back to Ellie. Pass it back to Stephanie. Take us through item 6.3.
Sorry. Had we passed item 6.3, or are there any further questions or comments, or are we on to the Potataki report?
And that
I've lost track, sorry.
Okay, so there's no further questions on item 6.3. I'd like to put the motion to receive the rephasing procedures report and note the recommendations.
Most definitely, Tammy.
Okay.
Kia ora.
We've done that, have we, Sophie?
I think Sophie's occupied, but yes, I think we may have done that. Yeah, with Jack and Jane.
Potataki. Potataki, yeah, sorry.
Apologies, I just had lost track that was back to me. My apologies. I'm just trying to multitask with Sophie. So Potataki report. So look, I just wanted to say, and it sort of, it does really speak to some of the things that you yourselves have put into the chat and out loud, is that we've actually had, it was really great to get to the end of last calendar year. We're pretty exhausted as a team, but the program's in very good heart. And we've started the year, I think, with people really acknowledging what they're seeing in terms of, this 2 full years of operational delivery. Things really starting to move now, and I think it's really important as governors that you hear about how we're feeling and the tone of the feedback we're getting back. And so, I'm really pleased with where the program's at the minute. I'm feeling that we're in a point of program maturity, which I know has been hard won, a lot of hard work going into that, and just want to thank you all, including the team. I did use this paper too, not just to talk about the key performance indicators, and you've seen them also in finer scale in the 6-month draft report, but also just to paint a picture of what's coming in the calendar year. We've still got a lot of headwinds economically. Weather so far, fingers crossed, it's holding okay. Maybe a shorter planting season. It's something that we are very aware of, just given some of the droughtiness, and we're keeping a close eye on some of the meteorological medium-term forecasts. But look, the regulatory certainty, we need that as well to drive demand, and we've had some good conversations with key decision makers around that lately. In terms of the year ahead for us in terms of decisions, well, a very key decision to come, the timing for which will be a little dependent on central government decisions still to come, will be around whether and how we, KMR, can support the freshwater farm planning system. Right now, as you will be very aware, we are focusing on sediment reduction planning in the absence of clear signals, but once we have those clear signals, we are expecting to be able to make some decisions. So that's a key point for governors this calendar year, is how we do that in KMR and how we can best use the resources we have in a quite a fast-moving system. We will bring that back to yourselves in April with Steph and with others in the room supporting that conversation. That's a biggie for us because it's actually a reasonably significant change depending on where we sit on the scale and what our role is, to go from where we are here to where we sit in the freshwater farm planning system. So we'll more on that next time we meet. The other thing just to note, which we'll hear more about in our briefing, which is the meeting after the break, we've done a lot of benchmarking around performance. You usually see our key performance indicators against our standard as shown metrics, but we've also done 2 independent surveys. You'll hear more about those after the break. One's a landowner survey around the landowners that have been end-to-end through our process. I must admit, I'm very pleased with those results because I thought they might have been a little lower given it's the start and we made every mistake under the book in the sun, earlier on, but actually our landowners are really enjoying working with us and our field advisors, all credit to them. And we also have a staff engagement survey that I will talk you through in the next meeting. So otherwise though, just generally, from my perspective, probably the most upbeat, positive, buoyant start to, Potatiki report I've submitted, and I think it really does reflect a lot of the foundational work that's been done to date. One thing I'd like to just call out specifically is the attachment 1, which is our briefing to incoming ministers and other key decision makers. That's an A3. I will supply that separately in case that's of interest to people. You did see an earlier version. We've also updated it recently since it's such a great summary of the program so that the KPIs are up to date. But the thing about this, and MFE may want to talk to, is it's actually been very widely shopped around in both Wellington and also other decision makers. The feedback we're getting is very positive, and that it not only is a nice summary of Kaipara Moana remediation, but it also shows the strategic value that we bring to a number of either new or ongoing initiatives. But I might pause there because I can see that we have some questions. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Virginia.
Kia ora through you, Tammy. Justine, can we go back to page 56 where my conflict of interest has been lodged? One up, sorry. Back to 55, yeah, just in here. Can I just ask, am I the only one that has declared a conflict of interest to any of the grants?
No, there's several. Yes, there's several joint committee members have had previous conflicts of interest. This is not just a conflict of interest though. We record those in a much longer documentation and revise them regularly and review them regularly, and that will come back to you at some point pretty shortly. I know Sophie's doing a bit of work in that space at the minute. These are related to the LAMIA interests, so they're only grant related, and they are quite specific. We monitor them quite carefully, of course, through our digital system, and it's a transparency piece. As much as it's not, if you're in this table, it's not necessarily a problem. We are just assuring ourselves and yourselves and the public, any interested parties, that we are monitoring and managing that, and we work quite closely with the Office of the Auditor General, you might remember, to both manage and identify what are appropriate grant interests. So you will see this list evolve. When a project is finished and paid out, the project removes from this list, which is why you don't see other Joint Committee members' interests there at this immediate point. But they are quite specific interests. There's quite a particular set of decisions around those grant interests which you might recall that the Office of the Auditor General speaks there. We will talk to the Joint Committee members directly offline if we feel that there is a grant application that will breach the LAMIA interest, because there is a process that we need to go through. Now, I'll just, for the listeners who may not be familiar with this issue, Kaipara uri or any other iwi o hapu interest, there are some exemptions relating to that, because obviously by dint of nature of being on this joint committee, you are representing the body that signed up to the MOU for KMR, and therefore you are taking an interest as on behalf of your iwi and hapu members, the membership group to which you represent. That's not necessarily a problem from an OAG perspective that has the ruling on whether or not the Local Government Members' Interests Act, whether there's been any breach there. So we monitor that quite specifically, and we're very happy to come and talk to you about that directly, Virginia, if you'd like some more information on that.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to know if I was the only one on the committee so far that's been.
No, not so far, but right now at this immediate junction point in time, yes, that's why you're on the list. Yeah, of course there are many other interests, and we have those up to date or reasonably up to date.
Kia ora. Thanks, Justine.
Any other questions, comments from the members? If not, can I go to the motion, please, to receive the Pou Tātaki report? Have a mover for that? Motion. Move Virginia. Seconder.
Aye, Georgina.
Kia ora, Georgina. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those against? Any abstentions? That motion is carried. So, well, we're running ahead of schedule. Must be the rain. And set some kind of record. We've got
this may be the first one, Tame, that we've been early for.
Let's hope it equates to the reduction in sediment as well. Anyway, we've got a scheduled break till 11:30, and we'll see you all then. Any other matters before we sign off for now?
Through the chair, Tame, Justin, did you want to show the video?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry, Tame. We have permission now from to show a video, and I think it is. Thank you, Ben, for reminding me. Apologies. We just wanted to, in line with my personal buoyancy about the program and where it's at, just show you a video that we recently shot. And look, it's something that I think is quite heartwarming. And if we have time, it's 3 minutes or equivalent. So,
okay. Just before you do that, people will recall the work that's gone on in the Tinapai area. The chairperson of the board of trustees at their local school with a population of 15, is it? Is also the manager of Radio Ngāti Hine, and she contacted me to see if I would help with the radio broadcast of the world title fights between Lani Daniels, or featuring Lani Daniels and Mia Motu. So in the course of that discussion, we got talking, and she explained that she lived in Tinapai and was on the school committee and enjoyed the time with KMR. So one thing led to another, and she mentioned that their big fundraiser, their major fundraiser for their annual efforts was a fishing competition. So I said, oh, I'd happen to know a couple of people who are involved in it and are quite interested in keeping places like Tinapai functioning around the Moana. So that led to a bit of a discussion between her and Justine, and hopefully this video will show some of the highlights of the 2024 Tinapai School Fishing Competition. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Tami. Can I just check you can hear this audio, please?
Aye.
Yeah, pumped. How do you feel? Excited?
Yeah, super excited.
Super excited.
Yeah, get familiar with this face because we're bringing in the big fish.
Good stuff. You going for snapper or
anything?
Anything?
Yeah.
Anything?
Oh, snapper, yeah.
Gurnett?
Yeah, Gurnett.
Gurnett. Okay. How excited are you?
Yeah, pretty excited, mate. Yeah. Oh, that'll be a great day.
Yeah.
Great day all for Tinapine.
You ready for a big day?
Yeah.
Excited? Pumped?
Yes, glass, bro, glass.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Where are you from?
I'm from Tauranga.
Tauranga, right?
Yep.
You pretty pumped to be here?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a bluebird glamour day.
just wish everybody would just hurry up and get their boats in the water so we can all go out and have a fish. But no, we'll just go with the flow, mate. Yeah, go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens.
The fishing contest is the biggest event of its kind on the Kaipara Harbour. It's fundraising for a small school. It started in 1999 and it was established by the Board of Trustees then, who are keen fishermen. They're very passionate about the environment and as well as education. It's just the experience of just being out on the water and connecting, I think, with the taiao, and it's a beautiful day out for everybody. I think especially for our kids. I mean, you know, that's what the kids sprat competition, we like to put a lot of emphasis on that. It's because if we can get them out there early and, you know, have starting that connection if they've never been out before, I think that's really, you know, it's a real good start. We've had, you know, kids that have started when they were 5 and now they get into the stage where, hey, I'm 13 years old, I still haven't won that Xbox, I'm back in it for, you know, for another round. It's really neat to see.
So you're regulars in the Tinapine fishing competition?
Yep, since I was a baby, since I was 9. And now it's my kids' turn.
Are we going to win the fishing comp today?
Yeah, it's an amazing event today, and obviously the sponsorship that Kaipara is providing will help with community education, environmental education for the kids. We, Kaipara, work really closely with Tinapine School. They're one of our enviro schools that have been planting through Kaipara projects in the Tinapine Peninsula, and we work with a lot of the local community and iwi groups as well. So this for us is a way of giving back and thanking those people taking action. Protecting and restoring the mauri or the life force of the harbour means that this harbour is thriving. People getting out onto the water, fishing, boating, recreating, having fun.
This is a life source for a lot of our whānau here. You know, a lot of them go fishing and to support their whānau. So yeah, it's definitely one of those taonga that we need to be mindful of and protecting. Yeah, I mean, look at it, it's beautiful.
Very good, Ben. Well done. And well done to Kaipara Māori Kura. Did anybody catch a fish? Anybody on screen here? Did anybody catch anything?
Only my husband.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
I won a vacuum though, so I felt like a winner on the day.
Okay. Oh, well, it's 10:45 and we'll resume broadcast at 11:30.